Okay world, Justino here again. This is just a hot take of the Witcher Netflix series. I just binged it really and I just kind of had a few things to say. I feel like it was good, but it doesn't quite have the impact I think the directors wanted. It feels really rushed at points. Everything works out really, it's just, and I was really proud of, or like, how they've used what they decided to do differently was really focus on Yennefer compared to like the books and the games, and I think that really works out for them because it really differentiates them from them, and effectively the timeline is really they do a lot of time skipping, and use different timelines, but and it is confusing at first, but it all comes into the end, and I think that just really works for the writing. There's only one kind of little issue, kind of a spoiler, is that at the end I think there's just one thing that doesn't quite make sense, but they had to do it to make the whole timeline jumping thing work out really. So that was about it. So I think it did fine. There were moments where it just it just missed the spot sometimes. It's totally yeah. It just not like Game of Thrones where it's so stuck. Game of Thrones really, they had to do a rewrite of that one, didn't they? But Game of Thrones really hits you on the head a bunch of times, and yeah, and I think um, what really makes the books and the game actually really good is just Andrei Sapkowski's voice and the and Geralt's voice as well. When it's essentially what do you call that? An extended Geralt's voice in the book is just a cynical take on the world, and I think that's what makes the games incredibly good because you're always looking through the world through Garrett's perspective, eventually. But the movie or the show does that pretty well by also putting into Yennefer's kind of experience too. And I just find it funny though, or interesting, is that there is this kind of like paradoxical theme through the show about destiny and how it just which is interesting because like Geralt is always kind of trying to fight destiny, and it's not something now we kind of look upon and say like there shouldn't be this thing called destiny. Honestly, that we are all um, essentially built up on that we are affected by our environment, but it ultimately comes down to our choices. And then there's this part where very much about Yennefer saying that she wants her choice back, and I think that's an interesting moment, or just an interesting concept in that through these books, because it is like, why would you want to have a kid in like such an awful world, really? But um, it's just an interesting concept, and uh, you could like see that as a kind of abortion now, and I think what comes fresh to my mind is Peggy Olson's rant about how men get to just walk away really a lot, and that's not it's a very simplistic argument, but it is true that that does happen, and yeah, I just it's because I think it's also very like Geralt's voice is often about how he doesn't choose sides and how he tries to make no choices and he just lives his life, and that and then he's also someone who's a slave to his own destinies in some ways, and it's just an interesting paradox in what the books are like. The world, and I think that's what Siskowski is very much, is like how the world is messed up in many ways, but you kind of try to do your best really, and I guess Yennefer is like she wants to be able to uh, get back her choice, and I guess and often the choices you're given are usually under duress, and you're not at your best, and things happen like that, and you just tend to do the wrong things even if you are in the best conditions. Often you aren't given all the opportunities you have, and I kind of realized this as somebody as privileged that um, you aren't always given choices, and you know it took a long time in life to really understand that you aren't always given the best opportunities, and so yeah. Yeah, I think it's okay. It's a PE show. I highly recommend it in some ways. It just doesn't quite have Andrei Siskowski's voice, but it adds quite a bit, and it really does find a way to differentiate itself from the other mediums. And hopefully they do find another way to make it different a bit. Continuing on and watch Mad Men, I guess. John Hamm is kind of like this amazing guy who's like perfect in ways, and if you watch him like or listen to him in interviews, he's actually really funny, and I think that's what's awful about it is that he's funny and he's like perfect in a lot of ways. Um, Other than that, yeah, I liked Harker Vagrant. I think that's a good book for anybody should just pick up or read online or comic. For, I guess for Christmas and whatever you're doing. I guess people are watching movies this time of the year, right? Just like the Christmas movies. What are you watching? I think Kill a Mockingbird was a really good movie. I think it's a good Christmas movie. It's just the only thing I think what differently for that one is at the end where the book does this scene where Scout looks out through the window and sees the world through a different perspective in a lot of ways, and I think that's really where the movie missed the spot on there. It was kind of a montage of the film instead of like where now you could just put another camera through a window and kind of show a different perspective, you know, that kind of a thing. But or even just do it digitally, eh? But yeah, if things, have a good New Year and holidays.